Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Old Time Rock and Roll. I'm your host, David Tear. Sorry I'm late with this video, but I've been pretty busy the last couple weeks campaigning for Harris. I've been doing canvassing of the neighborhoods here around Las Vegas, trying to get the votes in for Harris. I hope to God she wins. Anyway, enough of that. Let me resume my countdown of my personal top 3,000 songs of the rock era from 1954 to 1999. Today I'm up to song number 2711, and that one is Crying by Roy Orbison. I mean, not Roy Orbison, by Don McLean. The original version was by Roy Orbison, 1962. Don McLean did a cover in 1981, almost 20 years later. I do really prefer Roy Orbison's version, but Don McLean's isn't bad. Anyway, it was released on his album called Chain Lightning, which came out in 1978. And I guess first I want to talk a little bit about the song Crying. Like I said, the original version was by Roy Orbison. Here's his singles jacket, and I guess the flip side was Candyman, not the same Candyman from Willy Wonka, but much older song. Uh, and I really do like Roy Orbison's version. I have a little story to tell about Roy Orbison. I hope this isn't too much of a digression, but I didn't even know who Roy Orbison was until 1980. And I saw him in concert kind of by accident. I remember I went to an Eagles concert in 1980 at the Oakland Coliseum. I was living in San Francisco at the time. I went with my sister and my best friend from high school. And the Eagles were great. I mean, they were a really, really great band. I'm glad I got to see them. But before the Eagles played, Roy Orbison played for about an hour, and I'd never heard of him before. But I was really taken aback by his music. I mean, I remember one song that especially hit me was "Dream Baby." I loved that song when I heard it. Classic song. That one is coming up on my list, as there's several others by Roy Orbison. And I knew the song "Oh Pretty Woman." I think I heard it in a Cam commercial in the late '70s, so I recognized that one. But I didn't. Otherwise, I didn't know who Roy Orbison was. He also did version of "Blue Bayou," which was a hit by Linda Ronstadt. I knew her version, but I had never heard Roy Orbison's before. Anyway, enough about that. And but he did do a really amazing job with "Crying." Uh, and I think his version is a lot better than Don McLean's. But anyway, and then he also had a another version of "Crying" in 1987 along with Katie Lang. I've never actually heard this version, and I don't think this was a top 40 hit. I think it was an adult contemporary hit and also a country hit. I mean, the charts kind of changed by then, but anyway, that's kind of the history of the song "Crying." Not much to say about the song itself. Kind of a simple, heartbreak ballad. I mean, I guess his girlfriend broke up with him and he's crying over her. Very sad song, but very common tale. So not much to say about it, but very emotional song, especially Roy Orbison's version. But Don McLean's version is good too, which is why I think I also put it on my list. Anyway, now I think I want to talk about the singer Don McLean. So I'm not sure how many of you guys are familiar with him, but I think probably just about everybody knows his biggest hit, which was American Pie. I mean that is a well-known rock and roll classic that seems to be sort of universally known. And in case you don't know what that song is about, it was really, and that was his first hit. I'm going to go through his discography in a minute, but that was a number one. His only number one song. It was released in 1972. And it was inspired by the death of Buddy Holly, the tragic plane crash that killed Buddy Holly, and along with Richie Valens and the Big Bopper, February 3rd, 1959. And that was what he called the day the music died. Now it's kind of universally known as the day the music died. And the rest of the song is pretty cryptic. It's an excellent song, but it's 8.5 minutes long. I think when it was a hit, they played a shortened version, which really didn't give it justice at all. But it's like six verses, and each verse is kind of cryptic except the first one. it has all these sort of cryptic references to a lot of other stuff that was going on during the 1960s, and it's very open to interpretation. I don't think Don McLean ever explained what this song was exactly about, and a lot of his fans used to ask him that. They used to ask him, "What does the song mean?" And he was kind of sarcastic about it. He said, "It means I never have to work again." And funny thing is, he really didn't work that much after American Pie. He didn't have to. He didn't have all that many big hits after that. I'll just go through his other hits. So his first was American Pie, and that went to number one. Later that year, he had Vincent, which went to number 12. That's a very beautiful song, by the way, and that one is coming up on my list pretty high, actually. That's about Vincent van Gogh, just kind of about the tragedy in his life. Then in 1973, he had a song called Dreidel. And in case you guys don't know what a dreidel is, it's a little toy, kind of like a top that is played on Hanukkah, which is a Jewish holiday. It's kind of the Jewish equivalent of Christmas, and it has four sides with the Hebrew letters Nun, Gimel, Hey, and Shin, which stand for Nes Gadol Hayad Sham, which means a great miracle happened there, which is kind of part of the Jewish religion. I'm not going to get into that, but it's kind of the basis for Hanukkah. And I don't know, I learned a kid's song called Dreidel when I was a kid. I don't know if I've never heard Don McLean's version. I don't know if it's the same song or not. Maybe some of you guys can tell me that. But anyway, that was his next hit. That was 1973. That went to number 21. Later that year, he had If We Try, which went to number 58. In 1975, he had Wonderful Baby, which went to 93. 1981, he had the song I'm featuring today, Crying, which went to number 5. And then later he had Since I Don't Have You, which was a cover of a song originally done by the Skyliners in 1959, another kind of 50s golden oldie. His version went to number 23. I do greatly prefer the Skyliners version. I've heard Don McLean's. It's a pretty song, but I don't think he does justice to the Skyliners. He also had a song called It's Just the Sun, which went to number 83, and Castles in the Air, which went to number 36. So those were all his hits. Not a lot of hits, like I said. And anyway, that completes my profile on Don McLean, on Crying by Don McLean. Thank you for watching. You can join me along with a stick figure and dance. And thank you for watching, and rock on, and I'll see you guys next time.